A strong hold over current affairs is your way to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Brace yourself and get detailed coverage of relevant news both nationally and internationally. With the monthly current affairs revision program starting from 26th October at 5 p.m. Enroll today and elevate your current affairs knowledge with comprehensive coverage of current affairs compiled through relevant sources such as the Hindu Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB Yojana, and others. Expert support and personalized mentoring. Comprehensive assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Supreme Court overturns its decision which denied Aligarh Muslim University status as minority institution. Sexual assault under POCSO cannot be quashed based on compromise, Supreme Court. India's first official meeting with Taliban Defense Minister, a new diplomatic shift. Scheme for strengthening the medical device industry launched by Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. First global ministerial conference on ending violence against children held in Bogota, Colombia. World's first CO2 to methanol plant launched by NTPC and Vindhyanchal. In a significant legal development, the Supreme Court has overturned its earlier decision, granting Aligarh Muslim University or AMU the status of a minority institution. The court, by a 4:3 majority, overruled its previous judgment in the S. Aziz Basha versus Union of India 1967 case, which had denied AMU minority status under Article 30, Clause 1 of the Constitution. To provide some context, the SC in S. Aziz Basha versus Union of India had held that AMU could not claim minority status as it was not established or administered by a Muslim minority. The court had ruled that AMU was a central university created by the AMU Act of 1920. However, this decision was revisited after the Parliament passed the AMU Amendment Act 1981, which restored AMU's minority status. Despite this, the Allahabad High Court in 2006 struck down AMU's minority status, a decision that was subsequently challenged in the Supreme Court in 2019. In today's ruling, the Supreme Court has referred the issue of AMU's minority status under Article 30, Clause 1 to a regular bench, based on the principles established in the current judgment. The court made several key observations in its judgment. 1. There is no need for minority control over administration to prove that it is a minority educational institution. 2. Courts should examine the genesis of an institution and identify the brain behind it to determine who originally established it. Third, an institution's minority status is not negated simply because it was created by a statute or established through legislation. Fourth, communities that were not classified as minorities before the Constitution came into effect are still entitled to Article 30, Clause 1 protection for institutions established before independence. This ruling reaffirms the fundamental right of minorities to establish and administer education institutions under the Constitution, specifically under Article 30, Clause 1, which grants linguistic and religious minorities the right to run institutions of their choice. The National Commission for Minority Education Institutions, or NCMEI Act, has also been enacted to safeguard the educational rights of the minorities enshrined in Article 30, Clause 1 of the Constitution. In conclusion, this decision marks a pivotal moment in the legal recognition of minority educational rights in India, and its implications for AMU could set a significant precedent for similar institutions in the future. Moving ahead, in a landmark judgment, the Supreme Court of India has ruled that cases of sexual assault under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences or POCSO Act 2012 cannot be quashed based on a compromise between parties. This judgment came in the case of Ramji Lal Bairwa and others, versus State of Rajasthan and others, where the Supreme Court overturned the Rajasthan High Court's decision to quash a sexual assault case under the POCSO Act on the grounds of a settlement. The case reached the Supreme Court through a special leave petition under Article 136 of the Constitution. This article gives the Supreme Court the special power to grant leave to appeal against any judgment, order, or decree from any court or tribunal in the country. Now, let's take a closer look at the court's key observations in this judgment. Referring to the State of MP versus Lakshmi Narayan case of 2019, the court highlighted that an offence against society cannot be settled by compromise. The Supreme Court also cited the Sunil Raikwar versus State judgment of the Delhi High Court, which reinforced that POCSO offences are not eligible for settlement. The court emphasized that such crimes cannot be treated as private matters eligible for compromise-based quashing, and also emphasized cases which have serious societal implications should not be dismissed solely based on a settlement. Now, let's talk briefly about the POCSO Act 2012. This gender-neutral legislation was enacted to ensure the safety of children and punish offenders according to the severity of the offence, comprehensively addressing child sexual abuse. The Act defines a child as any individual below 18 years of age and categorizes punishable offences into three main categories: sexual assault, sexual harassment, and using a child for pornography. Additionally, the 2019 amendment to the Act introduced more stringent punishments, including the death penalty for committing sexual crimes against children. This Supreme Court ruling reaffirms the stance that POCSO cases should be handled with utmost seriousness, safeguarding societal interests and the rights of vulnerable children. In our next news, we will talk about a significant diplomatic development. India recently held its first official meeting with the Taliban's defense minister, signaling a new shift in India's approach to Afghanistan since the Taliban's takeover in 2021. Now, let's dive into India's engagement with Afghanistan in the post-Taliban period. While India has not officially recognized the Taliban government, it has taken a pragmatic approach since 2022, maintaining limited engagement to protect its strategic interests in Afghanistan and the broader region. India's involvement includes a technical team stationed at the Indian Embassy in Kabul, primarily focused on humanitarian assistance. Since 2021, the Indian Council for Cultural Relations has also granted admissions to over 3,000 Afghan students as of December 2023, underscoring India's commitment to the Afghan people. This year, India further strengthened its regional ties by participating in the Afghanistan Regional Cooperation Initiative, meeting held in Kabul. So why is India's engagement with Afghanistan so important? Firstly, there are significant geopolitical interests. India seeks to balance Pakistan's influence in Afghanistan and secure its access to Central Asia. Stability in Afghanistan is crucial to India, as any instability could potentially affect the entire region. Additionally, Afghanistan's position as a major producer of the world's opium, accounting for over 80% in 2021, raises concerns about financing for terrorist activities. India also aims to secure its investments in Afghanistan, having made substantial contributions to infrastructure projects. Some key initiatives include the Salma Dam inaugurated in 2016 and known as the Afghan-India Friendship Dam, and the Zaranj-Dilaram Highway, constructed by India's Border Roads Organization near Afghanistan's border with Iran. This highway offers India a critical alternative route into landlocked Afghanistan via Iran's Chabahar port, effectively bypassing Pakistan. This recent meeting marks a careful but strategic move in India's approach to Afghanistan, reflecting a pragmatic shift towards preserving regional stability and safeguarding India's long-term interests.
In a major push to strengthen India's medical device industry, the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers has launched a comprehensive scheme to make India self-reliant in this critical sector. The Indian medical device market is currently valued at around $14 billion and is anticipated to grow significantly, reaching $30 billion by 2030. Now, let's take a closer look at the scheme's features. This ambitious program comes with a total outlay of 500 crore rupees and is structured around 5 key sub-schemes. First, we have the Common Facilities for Medical Devices clusters. This sub-scheme is focused on enhancing infrastructure within medical device clusters by establishing shared facilities including R&D labs, design and testing centers, and animal labs. Next, the Marginal Investment Scheme for Reducing Import Dependence aims to reduce reliance on imports by fostering localized production of essential components, raw materials, and other critical supplies. The third component, Capacity Building and Skill Development for Medical Devices, addresses the need for skilled professionals in the sector. It offers financial support to run courses that will develop a skilled technical workforce for the industry. Then there is the Medical Device Clinical Study Support Scheme, which provides funding for animal studies, human trials, and clinical performance evaluations, key steps in ensuring safe and effective medical devices. Finally, the Medical Device Promotion Scheme supports industry associations and export councils to organize conferences and conduct necessary studies and surveys for the sector's growth. But what challenges does India's medical device industry currently face? Major hurdles include a lack of infrastructure such as R&D labs and testing centers, a high dependence on imports for high-end devices, low capital investment, and an inverted duty structure. India has already taken notable steps to address these challenges. The Production-Linked Incentive Scheme for Promoting Domestic Manufacturing of Medical Devices and the Promotion of Medical Device Parks Scheme have been introduced as part of ongoing efforts to promote the sector. This new scheme, with its holistic approach and targeted initiatives, is set to drive growth and enhance India's standing in the global medical device industry. Moving ahead, the first Global Ministerial Conference on Ending Violence Against Children recently took place in Bogota, Colombia. Hosted by Colombia and Sweden, the conference was organized in partnership with UNICEF, the World Health Organization (WHO), and the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General on Ending Violence Against Children. Now, let's talk about what violence against children or child maltreatment entails. It includes all forms of physical or emotional mistreatment, as well as sexual abuse. Alarming statistics reveal that violence affects half of the world's child population, with 3 out of every 5 children regularly experiencing corporal punishment at home. Yet, violence remains largely hidden, with fewer than half of the affected children reporting their experiences and less than 10% receiving any form of assistance as per the WHO. The consequences of violence against children are significant. Psychologically, it can lead to anxiety and depression, while physically, it increases risks of issues like sexually transmitted infections or STIs. Early maltreatment can also lead to developmental setbacks, with affected children facing a 13% higher likelihood of dropping out of school. Addressing this pressing issue requires evidence-based strategies focused on prevention. Safer learning environments, especially through school-based programs targeting bullying and enhancing social skills, are essential. Additionally, digital safety initiatives are critical to protecting children from online exploitation. Globally, several initiatives are in place. The INSPIRE initiative, led by WHO and UNICEF, outlines 7 strategies to end violence against children. UNICEF's Safe to Learn program and the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, adopted in 1989, further support this mission. Now, moving to India's efforts. India's constitution includes Article 21A, ensuring the right to free education for children aged 6 to 14, and Article 24, which prohibits child labor in hazardous environments like factories and mines. Key legal frameworks such as the POCSO Act of 2012 and the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015 also play a vital role in child protection. Additionally, initiatives like Operation Nanhe Farishte by the Railway Protection Force focus on rescuing children from trafficking. The conference in Bogota has highlighted the urgency to end violence against children, calling for collective efforts to protect their rights, safety, and future. In a major breakthrough, NTPC has launched the world's first carbon dioxide to methanol plant at its Vindhyachal station. This plant successfully captures carbon dioxide from flue gas and combines it with hydrogen produced by a proton exchange membrane (PEM) electrolyzer. The result? Methanol, a key sustainable fuel. Additionally, NTPC has developed its first indigenous methanol synthesis catalyst, which is a critical part of the process. This achievement is being hailed as a historic step in both carbon management and sustainable fuel production. Now, let's dive deeper into what methanol is. Methanol, also known as methyl or wood alcohol, is the simplest alcohol. It is clear, colorless, and flammable liquid that mixes completely with water. Its distinctive odor is similar to ethanol, the alcohol found in drinks. So how does the carbon dioxide to methanol plant work? First, carbon dioxide is captured from industrial processes or directly from the air and then purified. Then, hydrogen is produced through the electrolysis of water using renewable electricity, ensuring a low carbon footprint. After that, carbon dioxide is converted to cobalt by reacting with hydrogen gas. Finally, the carbon monoxide is converted into methanol. This process offers a number of key benefits. Firstly, it requires low energy and cost for methanol production compared to conventional methods. It also plays a significant role in carbon capture and utilization (CCU) by addressing carbon dioxide emissions directly from power plant flue gases. Moreover, this technology supports India's vision of a methanol economy and contributes to the global effort to meet Paris climate change goals. It also helps reduce India's dependence on oil imports while curbing pollution from the electricity sector. Finally, methanol has advantages when it comes to energy storage. It can be stored and transported more efficiently than hydrogen and is less flammable, making it a safer alternative. In conclusion, NTPC's launch of the carbon dioxide to methanol plant is a major milestone in the transition to a cleaner, more sustainable energy future. The personality in news for today is Bipin Chandra. He is in news as recently the birth anniversary of Bipin Chandra was celebrated. After partition of Bengal, Bipin Chandra participated in Swadeshi movement in 1905. He was an exponent of extremist form of nationalism and opposed Gandhi during the non-cooperation movement 1920 over the fact that it did not address self-government. Moreover, Bipin Chandra was imprisoned for his refusal to give evidence against Aurobindo Ghosh in Bande Mataram sedition case. He initially joined Brahmo Samaj, turned to Vedanta, and ended up as an upholder of Vaishnav philosophy of Sri Chaitanya. His literary works include New India, which was a weekly journal, Hindu Review, which was a monthly journal, and a book named The New Economic Menace of India. Through his actions, he showcased the values of patriotism, courage, and sacrifice.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. The government invited comments on the draft Commercial Codes Amendment Bill 2024, which aims to provide quicker and specialized adjudication of commercial disputes. Commercial codes deal with commercial disputes arising out of ordinary transactions of merchants, bankers, intellectual property rights, etc. Staff shortages and operational challenges in NCLT were highlighted in a recent ruling of the Supreme Court. NCLT is a quasi-judicial authority established under Section 408 of the Companies Act 2013, which deals with corporate disputes of civil nature arising under Companies Act. The Supreme Court restored Directorate of Revenue Intelligence or DRI officer's authority to issue notices and recover dues under the Customs Act 1962. DRI is the apex anti-smuggling agency of India under the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, or CBIC, Ministry of Finance. Government announced plans to develop 100 climate-resilient coastal fishermen villages under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. The initiative aims to improve resilience against climate change by providing facilities like fish drying yards, emergency rescue facilities, etc. As per recent study, tiger population triples in Assam's Manas National Park, located contiguously with the Royal Manas National Park in Bhutan. This biosphere reserve was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. ISRO will launch European Space Agency's Proba 3 mission, marking a significant step in international space collaboration. The aim of this mission is to observe the Sun's corona through an innovative satellite formation flight. The market for allulose, a natural sugar alternative, is gaining ground in South Korea as a healthier option. Allulose, also known as D-allulose and D-psychose, is a naturally occurring sugar found at low levels in kiwis, figs, and other fruits. Indian Council of Agricultural Research National Research Centre on Equines in Haryana has been granted WOAH Reference Laboratory status. This recognition is specifically for its expertise in equine pyroplasmosis disease caused by tick-borne protozoan parasites affecting horses, donkeys, mules, and zebras. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.